since most of us are from different time zones, it's difficult for me to say. I think let's start the recording, Ralph.
Yep, we
So,
started.
yeah, thank you. So it is difficult for me to say either good morning or good evening. Yeah, hello. Yeah, it is difficult for me to say good morning or good evening or good night in India at 9:30 and Singapore friend is at 11:30 now. So I just welcome each one of you. Thank you for accepting my invitation. Let me introduce myself. I'm Mantha Bala. I have around 3.5 decades of experience. After 2.5 decades of experience, I became an entrepreneur. After in 3 years' time, touching USD 15 million operations, I decided to pivot and align with my life goals. So I'm still evolving. So my new initiatives will be more or less towards a social impact. And I have my friend Ralph. He's been my backbone and stood like a rock behind me. I think, but for him, this wouldn't have happened. So I think it's happening very seamlessly. Thank you, Ralph. And he'll be helping me to navigate our chats during our session. Okay, after my MBA and completing 6 years of work experience, I got trained in entrepreneurship and small business development. And in 1991, it's a full 1-year program. And if you understand that there are 1,000+ institutes or more, and globally, if you look at it, quite a few of them are into entrepreneurship development. And majority of them are into addressing the enterprise. And once the idea is born and people pick up from there the idea, and then they take it forward. And some of them address the entrepreneur. Once he address becomes the entrepreneur, how to use his time productively, and then help him grow in that space. And the third category, and some of them address the niche segment, which is seeding entrepreneurship in the young minds or anyone who is aspiring to become an entrepreneur. I am operating in that space for this session. So the seeding in my parlance is developing an entrepreneurial mindset. So that is what we are currently now. So let me state the rules of the game. It is difficult for me in a virtual environment without an eye contact doing a presentation. So what I will do is once I start, Ralph, you start the screen sharing for me.
Yes, you are co-host, so you should be able to share your screen and the presentation.
Okay, great. One second. One second, where is it? Yes, I found it. So what I will do is, as a rule, to have an eye contact and then feel the participants. So I'm planning to have 5 Q&A sessions in between. And that point of time, I'll stop sharing the screen. And then I'll ask you to share your experience. You can share them in the chat. My friend Ralph will help us navigate those chats. Okay. And now, if you look at it, having an entrepreneurial mindset is critical to fulfilling one's potential. This is something that has resonated with me. I've been living with this statement. Now we are going to experience this during this session. So let us now start decoding entrepreneurial mindset one after the other. Okay. Yeah. So first, before I start, I would like to pay my respects and then gratitude to the professors who helped me in my entrepreneurial journey. I started in 91. I wish that my first professor of 91, she was planning to join. I'm not sure whether he's joining today or not. And if she joins, I will introduce her to you. And other than that, to catch up with the latest trends, So because I got trained in 1991, so when I thought I will now pivot and then get into this in 2019, so I started trying to learn more about the latest trends in entrepreneurship developments. And that's how I got into what online program, and then let's say Copenhagen Business School program, and then UK University program, and even a Michigan University program. So I got the latest from all of them, and then I'm using some of them with due respect to them. Okay, now let's look at it. The dictionary definition of mindset: a set of beliefs or a way of thinking that determines one's behavior, outlook, and mental attitude. Okay, and so this is so common to all of us. We use this in our day-to-day life. Okay, and it's a common cliche for all of us. Now let us understand this definition from the research finding. So Stanford professor, okay, as you read this statement, okay, the highlights of this is, okay, hard work and mindset impact success more than natural talent. Okay, and the second highlight of this statement is that the research finding is that people have the ability to choose which mindset that they wish to operate from. This is awesome according to me. And why shouldn't it be the entrepreneurial mindset? So those, if this resonates with you, I think people can now start typing why in the chat box to know that you are active in the session. So if this is resonate with you, that entrepreneurial mindset is what we should operate from, please type Y in the chat box. Okay. Then now, oh, what's happening? Yeah. So now the expert, and now the expert talking about it. Okay. About the entrepreneur mindset. As you keep reading the statement, the highlight of this again finding is that the entrepreneurial mindsets are often drawn to opportunities, innovation, and new value creation. Okay, this is nothing but a specialized growth mindset. Okay, this is what is outlined by Dr. Dweck in the earlier research that we talked about as a specialized growth mindset, as opposed to fixed mindset. Okay, so what? Sorry. Yeah. So now some of you are going to be entrepreneurs, and some of you are just interested in entrepreneurship. This experience is to guide you to be a better entrepreneur or be a better entrepreneurial manager. So what I mean by that is that at the end of this session, I expect that this experience will help you to imbibe the spirit of entrepreneurial mindset, spirit of entrepreneurship. Okay, what I mean by that, you should be able to start speaking the entrepreneurial language and start the journey with the growth mindset. This is what my expectation at this end of this session. Okay, fine. So again, a common cliche for most of us that we use in our day-to-day life. So as a parent or as a friend, anyone who approaches to us and then tell us saying that, okay, I would like to do something different. Okay, or someone is saying that I'm going for the examination. So you always invariably say, be sure about it. Okay, anything that they talk to you and then something new that they propose to you. So what does that mean? They are telling you to be confident, trust yourself, and believe in yourself. So this is another expectation that you will all be sure about entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial mindset by the end of this session. Okay. Now, let's look at what are motivators or barriers. I've just chosen, there are quite a few of them when we look at entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial mindset, but for convenience and for ease of understanding, ease of thinking, so I've chosen few and examples for each one of them. And the examples are here taken only for a learning experience. So I have no other business connections with any of them. No, there is no business interest. So you can be rest assured that, yes, this is something that is basically for a learning experience. Okay, now status. Okay, Ralph, would you like to do the poll after I present all of them or each one of them?
You can, why don't we list all of them and then I can put the poll up afterwards.
Yeah. So what you do is you can record until then. So now you're thinking. So we got the dictionary definition. We understood the research finding. So now it's a way of thinking. Now I stated status. What do you think? It's a motivator or a barrier? Please write it down in your piece of paper that you have before you. M or B against that. Okay. Similarly, I'm presenting competition. Okay, before that, let me finish the second part of it. So if all of you have completed this, I would like to ask you one more, assuming in true faith that you would have completed answering this M or B. Now I'm defining the status. Okay, status here is, let's say, an athletic, national athletic was won 4 gold medals. Okay, for her, that is a status. Will that be a motivator or a barrier for us to start an enterprise or entrepreneurial venture? Now you answer that because you're thinking. So as you're thinking, record your outcome. Same thing, second question, record your outcome. Now I'm doing this for, let's say, competition. So now as you listen to the competition, you're thinking about it. So you can write, will competition be a motivator or a barrier? Just write it, M or B against that. Okay, it's your record and your learning experience. You're going to keep it with you. And this is what, at the end of the day, at the end of this session, it'll help you. Okay, now I'm now defining the competition. Let's say a service that is provided by a state government free of service. And would you enter that space and build a service offering in that space? Now you tell me, will it be a motivator or a barrier? Okay. As you write that, now social problem. Now define. As you're thinking, record your outcome. Is it a motivator or a barrier? So in a piece of paper, just write that. Now I will define this social problem to you. This is one of the best opportunities in my perspective, because one side, it will help you create sustainable livelihoods for the marginalized. Other side, it will help you address environmental issues which are actually troubling the humanity. Now you're thinking, record your outcome, whether will it be a motivator or a barrier. Okay, now passion. Okay, so by word, yes. Is it a motivator or a barrier? You can record that. And yes, invariably, anybody will say that you talk about entrepreneurship, one has to be passionate to become an entrepreneur. So there are no thoughts about it. So it will be a motivator. But understanding this passion, let's say, okay, you take this forward and transfer this to the generations. Okay, so that is what I look at it as a passion. Let's say for an ice cream, that you love an ice cream so much that, okay, the flavor and the taste with which you make that the ice cream, should that end with you? Or would you like to pass on that so that generations to generations will enjoy that ice cream? That is what I mean by passion. With this definition, will it be a motivator or a barrier? Okay, now technologies. So technologies is similar to, let's say, early university professors in Indian context, IITs and IIMs. Will that be a motivator or a barrier? And you know that many of them do not become entrepreneurs, but those who become an entrepreneurs have, okay, it's kind of an innovation. So that becomes a motivator or a barrier. So you can answer that. Then comes the age. So you record your thinking, you record your outcome. Will it be a motivator or a barrier? As you record that, now I'll define that age for a 13-year-old pursuing an entrepreneurial opportunity or a dream. Will it be a motivator or a barrier? Yes, you can do that poll now.
Okay. Everybody should see the poll on your screen, and now you can put in your answers to the questions that Mantha has just asked. Another 15 seconds.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah. Done.
Poll is closed, and those are the results of the poll.
Okay. Where are the results? Is someone still waiting?
They should have popped up for everybody. So you should have a pop-up on your screen that has the poll results.
Okay. Where is it? I can't see it in my poll.
Yeah, we are able to see that.
Okay. Fine. No problem. I'm not able to see, not an issue. I think maybe I'll have to say stop sharing this and then I'll get it. Okay. No problem.
Generally,
You're not an issue.
77% of people said motivator and 23% said barrier for everything.
Everything. Okay, fine. So now I'm giving you the third context. Okay. Now, the third definition of this. So we talked about an athlete who won the national gold medal for 4 times. She is now making her living and she started an enterprise for a basic livelihood. Will your rating change now? Okay. And most of you and most entrepreneurs in the developed world, entrepreneurship typically has an objective beyond just making money. Okay, that is the secret sauce. And any of you, you're in a position to identify that secret sauce, then you will know what will be the result of that, knowing the secret sauce. Okay, so you record your outcome now, whether it is changed compared to the rating that you gave in the first and second instance situation. Now, similarly, we talked about the competition. See, I talked about the state government, 108. Most of you Indians know that it's a free service made available to the citizens. But however, here is an enterprise that is started by 3, I think one is a Croatian and then other one is a French national and one other an Indian. And they're addressing the same space. But however, if you look at it, 108 services offered within the state. And here is that they've identified the gap, offering this across state borders. Now, will your rating change? Because you can enter into a space even if there is a competition. Okay, how you looked at it, but now will your rating change? Record that because you're thinking about it now. As you think, record it. Okay, now social problem that I talked about. Okay, so here is that sustainable livelihood opportunities to rural and tribal communities, and at the same time addressing the environmental problem of steel, iron, wood, and plastic bamboo house in Hyderabad. Okay, same They also do recycled plastic products. Okay, trying to address the environmental problem. Other side, creating sustainable livelihood for marginalized community. Okay, I'll give you one example. Another example is inclusive waste management for a zero waste future. Okay. Here again, offer Hyderabad's first digital doorstep recyclable pickup service. Okay, so looking at this social problem, one which addresses two sides of an opportunity. Okay. Now, getting to know about this, will your rating change for a social problem from earlier, let's say motivator to barrier? Will it change now? Okay. Now, passion that I talked about earlier. Okay. So here is a photographer who excelled in a corporate world. However, he didn't stop there. He is now passing on this knowledge to the next generation, and he is leaving a legacy behind. This is what I meant when I gave an example of an ice cream. So you're leaving that knowledge behind for the generations to, okay, embrace and then use that knowledge. So this is what I meant by the passion. Otherwise, everybody is passionate about when they look at starting an enterprise or becoming an entrepreneur. So will your rating change now? Fine. Now technology innovation. Technologies, many of them do not, and some of them will become entrepreneurs. But here is again, I picked up an opportunity where he is building for a future generation. Okay, so will it become, because in such a scenario, most of the technologies, Yale University graduates should all become an entrepreneur, but not all of them become an entrepreneur. Minuscule percentage. Now the trend is changing. Many are embracing the entrepreneurial opportunity, but however, this is something is addressing the future generation. Okay. Now age. So I think I'm not sure how many of them would have said motivator a barrier. Here is a 13-year-old launches a logistics startup. So age is not a barrier. Okay. And those who know Indians know about Dabawalas. Others I think can Google it leisurely at a later point of time. Understand the power of Dabawalas in India. Okay. Now. See, now we looked at all this. Let me stop sharing for a while and then I'll come back to the question. Here, see, we have now experienced that mindset thinking because we wanted to experience that in the real-time world. Otherwise, we have experienced the definition of mindset, and then we have experienced the research finding of the mindset and then expert opinion of the mindset. But we have gone through really experiencing the mindset in terms of, okay, what is that mindset? It's a way of thinking and it reflects in your outcome. So you were thinking about each one when I was presenting it to you in 3 different scenarios. Okay, so that point of time, you looked at it and you answered as a motivator or a barrier. Now that you have seen the whole results, okay, and most of them have, let's say, talked about some of it as a motivator, a barrier. Anyone for any, okay, activity voted no change? Is there anyone who voted no change at all for one? Anyone that you pick up, anyone can say yes or no. One person can say yes or no. He said, I have not changed my rating from in all 3 situations. Has anyone said no to it? I don't see any. Yeah, someone said. I was there. Good. So as anyone, one person has said yes, changed his rating. Okay, from a situation to situation. That means first was a motivator, second he changed that to a barrier, and the fourth one he has changed it to a barrier, kind of a situation. So from the same thing. Has anyone done that? Yes. Fine. In a scenario like this now, I'm giving you this feedback for opportunity to, okay, now reflect on your thinking. Will your rating change now? You have seen others saying that, yes, they've changed. Those who said, no, I have not changed my rating, I'm giving you an opportunity. Would you like to change now, knowing others have changed? Anyone would like to change? Yes. So this is what is the mindset. So you're getting to know about that way of thinking and the reflection of that in the outcome to yourself and relation to the others. Okay, you did it for yourself. I have not seen it. Nobody has seen it. And okay, in the poll, you have seen how the others have voted. I gave you an opportunity. Some of them said they would like to change. This is the feedback. of the mindset mechanism. Now let's look at it, the entrepreneurial mindset, an extension to this mindset, because that is where we looked at it now. Let's say anyone would like to volunteer their name. Anyone? So I would like to volunteer here.
What was the question? I'm sorry, I missed the question.
I'm going now. We are going to experience the entrepreneurial mindset, the way we experience the mindset. Same thing, extension to experiencing the entrepreneurial mindsets. I would like to have a volunteer for that. I would like to use that person while explaining, letting people experience the entrepreneurial mindset. No, it is just to use the name when I'm using the example. That's all. I'm not going to involve you in an interactive session there. I'm just going to use the name. Vignesh. Okay, fine. Let's say now Vignesh has got an idea. Jim, I think Vignesh volunteered in advance to you. Okay, Vignesh is now has an idea. Okay, and now he's now got motivated. He's going from the step to the second step, and he's defining that on a paper, and he is drawing specifications to scale in the paper, and he looks at it. Some people might drop the idea and becomes a barrier to them, and they go back looking at that. Yes, assuming now Vignesh, he's got convinced, first motivation to the second motivation, he's now crossed that stage and he's going to the third stage where he's built the prototype. While building the prototype, he has understood the nuances of building that product and whatever it takes to build the product. Then he has an opportunity to drop that there or continue with that motivation. Okay, so that motivator is working in him. So he's now assuming Vignesh has decided to continue with that prototype. Now he is going to the market and checking with experts or with, let's say, customers. How we have now understood in the mindset in relation to others. Here is now taking a feedback from a customer. And then let's say customer is given a feedback, no, I can't accept this product. So what does he do? He takes the feedback or he drops it as a barrier. That is the thinking that will reflect in the outcome. Assuming he goes back and he corrects that and he goes to the other customer and he also says that, okay, fine, I'm willing to buy the product now. What will happen now? Your experience of this entrepreneurial mindset is that how at each stage, an idea to execution, what happens in you, how you have experienced the mindset, the same experience is what Vignesh is helping us to, okay, feel it with this example. Okay, so let me start now sharing the screen. Where am I? Yes. Okay. Okay, now in all these cases, the entrepreneurs had an objective other than making money. So I talked about the secret sauce. Other than secret sauce, what could be the reason? Can anybody comment on it in the chat? Oh, I released it. No problem. Sorry. Okay. So it is a financial sustainability and positive cash flow in the long run. Let me give an example here. One of my clients, okay, who had excellent solution, and yes, he had, I think, quite a few customers for that too. I think acceptance was very high among the customers. Yes, in fact, we did win an international accelerator competition award also. But however, that particular, the enterprise, I would call it a startup, did not meet the financial sustainability, positive cash flow in the wrong from day one. Ever since I got into their team as an advisor, so we have been only deliberating on that, I think, for nearly a year or so. One side we were acquiring customers, but we could not, we discussed too many ideas. At the end of it, the enterprise was shut down because that did not satisfy this condition. Okay. Now, to understand now what is that financial sustainability and a positive cash flow, we need to understand the entrepreneurship. Okay, there are n number of definitions in the Google. If you Google it, that you'll find out. I picked up the simple definition: the creation and management of a new enterprise to accomplish some objective. So the creation part, we will discuss at length in the module embracing opportunity, and management part is actually two aspects. One is the operations, the other one is entrepreneur per se. So we will be discussing about the entrepreneur as to who he is, what they do, why they do in the subsequent presentation. But the key thing here is that takeaway is that, are we making that entrepreneur independent or dependent on us? Or rather, that entrepreneur is coming to us, depending on us, compromising in his independence. That is the major challenge for us, because there seems to be enough evidence to consider achievement, power, and affiliation, low dependence motive, build entrepreneurial motivation. So if you let that startup or entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, compromising on that independency, then I think you will show the outcome of that in subsequent slides. Okay, yeah. So now financial sustainability for a product, simple equation, your revenue should be greater than fixed cost. Then it is sustainable. So what you need to do is, for your enterprise, if it is a product, just have this simple equation before you in the notice board. Yes, it is sustainable. That's a reminder to you. And if it is a service, long-term value should be greater than the customer acquisition cost. Okay. Same thing, you should be able to have this before you if you're in a service. So we can discuss that if you want. I can exchange mails offline to you and then have any discussions on this. Yes. Why financial sustainability is so critical? Well, this time let me talk. Oh shit, again I pressed it. No problem. Yeah. So I just wanted to have a Q&A discussion. So fine, doesn't matter. So why financial sustainability is so critical? One is success, that is to have a higher probability of success. The second one is to mitigate the risk and a lesser risk. There could be many other factors, but these two are very critical. So let's understand why. Here is it. So probability of success. So this is a Small Business Administration, the guidelines is that 30% die in the first year, and then 70% die by the end of the 10 years. In fact, in the recent study that I got from one of my other classes is that only 4% survive by the end of 10 years. Be mindful of that. Okay. And second thing is the risk. Okay. Only 70% of them do not make any returns, zero return. Okay. And only 0.34%, 2.2x return. That means only one becomes a unicorn out of 499 ventures. So you have some good news and the bad news in this analysis. So what do you take out of this? I'll leave that to you. Okay, be mindful of that when you are embracing entrepreneurial opportunity. Now, fine. Probability of success depends, of course, on, I think, let me now do a stop sharing. Let me carefully do a question answer session, because last two occasions I was jumping and then give the answers. So what is that? Can anybody answer that now, that question? Yes, little time. I'll have to go back into sharing mode. Fine, no problem. Let me get back into the sharing mode. Okay. The probability of success depends, of course, on you. That's it. So there are two aspects to that. One is that who you are, and depends, of course, on the opportunity you pursue. So opportunity part, we will discuss at length in the embracing opportunity module. And we will discuss now who you are, and who is an entrepreneur in this particular part. So, but some opportunities are riskier than others. We will also discuss this, I think, in one of the slides subsequently. Okay, fine. If I had asked this question, if I had asked this question and then all of you would have put this question back to me, is there a clear profile? Can we predict who will actually be successful? Is there a truly one type of entrepreneur? Is there one type of mindset is most suited for entrepreneurship? Oh, sorry, something coming my way. Yeah. So, so what answer that you are going to give me for this? So all of you are looking for an answer. So there is no single accepted standardized profile. If somebody is telling you that, yes, you can be, oh, this is my understanding of profile, you can be an entrepreneur, take it with a pinch of salt. There is no single accepted standardized profile. Okay. Now let's look at entrepreneurs. Okay, if you ask for the definition, entrepreneurs more likely to demonstrate. All of us, I think, very quickly talk about, yes, optimism, overconfidence, risk propensity, personality traits, and passion. So now let us understand this, who you are. Okay. From a distance. So you are now distancing yourself from and looking from inside to outside. And there are serial entrepreneurs, parallel entrepreneurs, and non-traditional entrepreneurs. So this is what you find the definition in the Google it. I think you will get an umpteen number of examples for each one of the categories. So let's understand now who is a serial entrepreneur. The one focused on multiple businesses, one after another. Their focus is to found one new firm, typically selling that firm first and then starting their subsequent firm. I think you Google it, you will find an answer. I think Richard Branson comes to my mind. And then parallel entrepreneur is someone who manages to run more than one successful business at a time. I think Elon Musk comes to the mind because he has electrical vehicles, he has a SpaceX, and then another storage business. And the other one is that non-traditional entrepreneurs. This is where I think the latest trend is that people who work at the same time, one of my clients or two of my clients was that they work at the same time, they also launch an enterprise, experiment with that, and they say, okay, fine, when it takes up, I'll jump my ship from that to this. So many things are happening. Some of them do, okay, you call it side hustles. Okay, so that is the reason, the variety of idiosyncratic ways we call it by establishing business on their own. Now we looked at entrepreneurship on a small business. Okay, there's a thin difference between these two lines. That is, entrepreneurship is different from inheriting or running an existing business, family owned or co-owned, working for other businesses or entrepreneurs for a salary. We talked about non-traditional entrepreneurs, being a commission agent, selling already available goods or services as a franchisee or a dealership. There's a very fine line between running a small business and an entrepreneurial venture, but they have a lot in common. However, initial stages of both SB and EV need significant hard work and dedication, but over a period of time, very SBUs become entrepreneurial ventures. Okay, now who you are. So we looked at, now we distanced ourselves now, and then we looked at who an entrepreneur is. We looked at certain definitions. Now let's look at from inside. Okay, who you are, who an entrepreneur is now from inside. Okay, so now what comes to your mind? Invariably, I think you looked at the mindset definitions there, the way of thinking, okay, results in outcome, okay, your behavior or in your mental attitude. Okay, now you look at that and say, invariably we make a judgment, okay, a remark, say, oh, this guy is not fit for entrepreneurship. Oh, he doesn't have the right mindset. On what basis you find people repeatedly making judgments like that? Does anything resonate with you? Can anyone say one statement here? Ralph, tell me if anyone has commented, because I'm jumping and going. It is confusing.
Yep,
Any comments?
I'm keeping an eye on the chat for you.
Okay, great. Okay, fine. So if there are no comments, let me unfold it for you. Entrepreneurial competencies. This is where I think I had shared a link with each one of you to take that assessment for you to know what are your entrepreneurial competencies that is inside of you. Okay, and you can still take the test. It will help you know what are those. Okay, and I've also in detail explained, okay, what this research study is all about. And the highlight of this is that success in an entrepreneur in a small business hinges on 13 personal entrepreneurial competencies. Okay, and also the highlight of this research is that expertise in terms of technical or other specialization for the project has not come out as an essential competency. This may not be a rule, but there are, okay, maybe a rule, but there are exceptions. And similarly, manipulating capability of an entrepreneur is also not a prerequisite or a sufficient condition of success. Okay. Now, these are all the 13 competencies. initiative, sees and acts on opportunities, persistence, information seeking. Now, if you go back and look at those examples that are shared, you will see that some of them or majority of them would have reflected in their initiating a venture. Okay, and then when I talked about manipulation capability in the earlier and then use of influencing strategies, there are thin difference between these two. Okay, we in an environment we talk about government tenders. Okay, I manipulate the specification, rather I influence them to change the specification in my favor, so that when the tender comes out, I stand to win the tender. So there is a thin line. Is there a manipulation involved, or is it influencing strategy? I leave that decision to you. Okay, now these are the results that you will get of the competency result. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah, okay.
you're still on.
Yeah, suddenly it went into unmute. Okay, this is the result that you get for the assessment that you take. And I and Ralph help in this space where we help improve your scores in competency through our coaching services. Okay, let's say persistent, the low score is 18 and high is 25. Anyone who has scored less than 18 has got a tremendous score to improve his competencies and needs help, should take help. Okay, that is one. Okay. Now we will look at two case studies I will do here, because it is difficult to do all 13. Time will not permit. Let's say I will give my one example for an initiative. As an entrepreneurial manager, I would talk about it, not as an entrepreneur, because that will take a lot of time, a lot of examples. Let's say in a tender environment where in a government tender environment where there are 10 competitors who already bid for it and then waiting in a decision maker's office. And my team called me saying that it is going out of control. You need to come in immediately. So I rushed to that place. I walked into the decision maker's office and I overheard him saying that we are waiting for the bids from X and Y. X is my company, Y is my fierce and the nearest competitor. We both were leaders in that space. And so I overheard that. I didn't even discuss it with him. I came out. I saw I was heading the region at that point of time, and I saw my counterpart, my competitor's regional manager there. I approached him. I told him, would you like to collaborate? Because this is what I heard from them. They're waiting for our bids. I said, would you like to collaborate? So I think he had a shock of his life, because we were fierce competitors on the road. And he said, give me a time. So he took time. I think maybe he went to his head office and came back post-lunch. Yes, we agree to it. Let's collaborate. So the deal was that he will put my bid and I will put his bid. So he will price the case component in my financial bid. I will write the price in his financial bid transparently, so that we trust each other. And he will put my bid and I will put his bid. That's it. We sealed. One shot, we exited all 10 of the competitors from the scene. And that is the initiative that I talked about. Okay, does a thing before being asked for or forced to by the events. If I had not done that, I'm sure you would not have got that. Both of us would have lost it anyway. Now, let's look at assertiveness. So here I would like to take my friend Avdesh. Are you there? Hello?
Yes, very much, yeah.
Yes, floor is for you to share your experience.
Yeah, so I think for me, when I took this test and my score on assertiveness came out to be very low, so I was not only surprised, because with 30 years of corporate experience, I really wanted to dwell deeper into understanding why is it coming out so low. Of course, one has to look at the definition, which very clearly talks about how does one confront with problems with others directly and tell others, what they have to do. And I interestingly found, when I reflected on this definition, that at some point, at each point in time, I would say, not at just some point, I found that when it came to being assertive with my colleagues or with my team members, somewhere I was carrying a little bit of fear inside me that if I'm going to be over direct with them and tell them that, well, this is what is expected out of you, and that you are failing to perform at those levels at which the expectation is, then the fear of losing them, or they leaving the job, or just just walking away or sulking, or for example just confronting and getting into a conflict. And somewhere I was from inside not wanting to get into that conflicting situation, or also a situation where there was less harmony and less collaboration. So there was a fear in me which was probably bringing down my assertiveness, and I was completely unaware of this impacting me so much. And when I took this test and I went through this PEC stuff and discussed with Mantha, I discovered that this was one of the biggest impediments on my being even more successful person on my job, and I really need to work on this. And two things that I think Mantha really guided me towards is, one is the right of not knowing, the right of not being afraid of confronting, and the right of choosing to be able to express my expectation and also seek that others to meet that. And on the other hand, the right of others in exactly the same manners, that they also have the right to not know everything that I may expect. Or on the other hand, they may also have the right to not meet up to the expectation. So where do I step in, and how do I then deal with it? And this is where the second part of the guidance came from Mantha, where he told me that, look, this is, once you understand your right and you appreciate this equal same right for others, then you can use the coaching spirit and the spirit of then exploring together the issues and the problems and coming up with solutions. So I thought I'll share that in today's session. Thank you, Mantha.
Thank you, Avdesh. Avdesh is actually a managing director of an HR firm from Singapore. Thank you, Avdesh. Okay. Now, who you are, another dimension to it. So that is the paucity of time with this entrepreneurial orientation. Okay. That is, okay. Again, there's an exercise here to know your orientation. And anyone who's interested can write to me to share that assessment link. I'll do that for them. So at the end of the day, as it is clear that exercise are a means to and not the end. Let's be very clear on that. So here, this exercise in a restricted sense is also being covered through a test, commonly known as entrepreneurial orientation theory. In-depth analysis of this exercise can focus on the strength and weakness of the individual in relation to the dimension internal versus external control. Okay, that's it. And now the last one is entrepreneurial motivation. This will be discussed in length at the module reflect motivation. We looked at sure, remember, if you recall that S is igniting spark. The other one is U is understanding competencies, and then the reflect motivation, and then embracing opportunity. Okay. And then let us do a visual recap now. So whatever you have discussed, I've ignited to you, let's say now a spark. The spark has got two dimensions to it. It can burn you or it can also help you develop a growth mindset. The burning means, okay, financial sustainability is not there and probability of success is very, very low in your enterprise, and the risk is very high. It is going to burn you if you're not, okay, aware of those entrepreneurial language. The other side, if you understand the way of thinking, the outcome out of the thinking is your behavior, okay, your the mental attitude, all that's towards a growth mindset that we call it entrepreneurial mindset. So that is the igniting spark that I meant by. Now let us look at it. So we looked at the definition, okay, and what it means. Okay, we have seen it. Pursue opportunities, innovate, leverage resources, mitigate risk. This is the mind of an entrepreneur. Sorry, really sorry. Now, thinking of an entrepreneur. Okay, yes, all of us know we think money, we think profits. What is the thinking in real terms? Yes, the businessman looks at selling, buying at 1.5, selling at 2, where an entrepreneur buying at 1.5, creation, managing it, selling it at 4.99. That is the thinking of an entrepreneur when you looked at the money part. Okay. Now, is the path clear? Does this resonate with you? This is the path of an entrepreneur, and this is the path of a job. If this resonates with you, and if you are consciously getting into this, knowing the path the way it is, as it is shown here, then that path is where you will experience the financial sustainability issues, probability of success issues, your interdependence and dependence issues, and then your risk issues. Okay, now, yes, you follow this path, okay, then you reflect your learnings there, unlock your potential. This is the opportunity that is lying before you. If you look at, if you embrace the opportunity, it's a transformative process. Love, like how a baby transforms himself in the mother's womb. Yes, same thing happens from idea, okay, from imbibing the spirit of entrepreneurship, I would say, because I got trained in entrepreneurship in 1991, but I became an entrepreneur in 2013. That means 22 years later. Okay, so that is how it is. That is a transformative process. So for some, it may happen immediately. For some, it may take time. That is the reason I'm at this bottom ladder of this entrepreneurship development. That's where seed is, that developing entrepreneurial mindset. Okay, this is actually the agenda. If I had shown you this agenda, you would have felt disappointed, because I'm not covering the motivation and the opportunities, uncertainty, and entrepreneurship in this module, because in 1 hour it is difficult. It's a 3-module masterclass. So I've done only the first 2 here. The other 2, if anyone who's interested, whenever I schedule, I'll let you know. Then you can attend that too. Okay. Thank you. I think I finished exactly 5 minutes before for a Q&A. Thanks, Ralph. Dream so big that average minds can call you crazy.
There we go. I like that. Thank you.
Yes, Rita. Thanks for coming on board. Okay, I request.
Mantha, did you want to take any questions now for the last couple of minutes we have?
Yeah, we have 5 minutes. That is the reason. I'll stop the scanning, and then yes.
Great.
Thanks, Jim. Any questions?
Mantha, what do you do? I know I'm in school with you, but what did you do as an entrepreneur? You have a business?
Yes. So I told you in the beginning, I was doing a solar business after touching USD 50 million operations, and then I started pivoting, and then I got into advisory and then consultancy roles, thanks to mentor coach team. So now I am trying to build. Thanks to Josh is here. I think I need to acknowledge that. I think Josh, I give you a floor to talk about mentor coach, how it has transformed me. Floor is you for 2 minutes. Would you like to, Josh?
Sorry about that. I couldn't find the unmute button. How are you, Mantha? Great job.
Okay. He's my professor.
No, Mantha, hold on. I can't hear you now. So hold on 1 second.
Okay. I'm introducing you. He's my professor at Mentor Coach. Okay. So I think request members to share your feedback. I will also send a link for the feedback. Please take time to give your feedback. It will help me improve in my subsequent sessions.
Mantha, the question came up earlier if you're going to be sharing the presentation with everybody who attended.
Maybe we'll share the recording more than the presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Satish. Yes, Satish, I remember you very well. Don't worry. You are in my heart. Yeah, Josh, tell me.
Sorry, Mantha, I couldn't figure out how to turn something else off, and then I'm here. So what can I help you with? Great job today.
Oh, great. Thank you. I just wanted to let you know, everybody, that my professor is here, and then, okay, he has helped me transform.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. You are in a lot of classes and working very, very hard towards becoming a certified life coach and a certified executive coach through one of the top, if not the top, coaching schools with the International Coach Federation. So well done. This was a really, really great presentation. And everyone who knows Mantha, I know is proud of him, and really, really great job. And it's always great to have you in class. And I've never met anyone who's so dedicated to showing up at all hours of the night to make sure to be there. So really well done.
Thank you, Josh. Okay, thank you, everyone. So exactly 1 hour. I think I made it in 1 hour. I think 1 more minute to go. Thank you, Ralph.
Bye, everybody.
You're very welcome.
Would you like to introduce yourself, Ralph, in a minute?
Sure. I'm Mantha's classmate, Ralph. I was just stage managing. This was all Mantha. He did an excellent job. I'm really grateful that he asked me to help him out on the back end, and I'm glad everybody enjoyed the presentation.
Thank you. Hi, George. Hope you enjoyed it. You're the one from Sweden. I think George is not there. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mantha. Hello, Mantha. I'm here. Thank you very much.
Oh, God. Yeah, I
Well,
just wanted to know.
Yeah, I had problem unmuting myself as well.
Okay, great. No problem. Hope you enjoyed the session. Let's catch up.
I have next catch up. I need to go now, but thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, George. Yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Mantha, I'm going to stop the recording.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, done.